Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Kathy Grimm, the Grimm Reader, and I'm here to chat about my weekly reads for the past week. Today is Tuesday, February 27th. Yes, I knew that. Let's see. It's funny, it's not I don't have much to say about the fact, but I know that some people are very excited because apparently our town's pretty small and has like the university is pretty big, but then it has one street, one main drag. And apparently Sylvester Stallone is filming a movie here. So there's all these, and people are like excited because it's going to be maybe special effects. I don't know. And it's taking up the whole main street. So it's going to impact the businesses for a couple of days at least. So I think it's kind of funny that the things people in a small town get excited about. Yes. What do I have to report? Thank you for our 1,000 subscribers. It's just kind of nice to see that 1K. You know, it doesn't really, at this point, the only good thing I will say about having a certain number of subscribers is that you get some feedback on most of your videos. You're not like, you don't have the complete sense of speaking into the void. And that's all, you know, that's good. And so thank you all for subscribing, and I hope you stay. You know, I even have a hard time saying push the button and the bell and all that, because it's like, no, you don't have to if you don't want to. But you know, I like that some of you are doing it. So you know, we all know that there's so many channels, and you know, we can't all watch and comment on everyone's. So we all have our own little groups that we do. But yes, and I don't even know. I mean, like, more people who watch me don't have channels too, and maybe I'm still thinking about a Q&A. I really don't like Q&As that much because I don't know why. It just seems sort of like self-indulgent, but then the whole thing is self-indulgent. So why am I being silly about Q&A? Because I am me. It's the way I am. I'm doing okay. I'm still a little bit like, I'm finding it hard to relax a little bit, even though I'm right now in a bit of a in-between phase. So I'm not as busy with grading or anything. It's like a little bit of a respite, which is nice. But I can sort of tell that I'm finding it hard to completely relax into it. And I think that's all the other sort of etc. stuff I have right now. There's one bookish thing that sort of veers off into somewhat etc. stuff, but I think I'll save it to when I talk about the book itself. So I'm still reading Pierre Gardo by Balzac. It's a bit slow going for me. It's a slower read. I need to sort of give myself time to get into the plot again. And it's basically, now we're focusing on this some impoverished student who has connections and who is trying to make his way in the world and sort of by way of seducing a certain woman. It's all about how you can get ahead by scrounging together money from your family and then presenting yourself in certain types of clothing, like the accoutrements of someone who's upper class, and then you can sort of finagle your way into high society. And it's very Gatsby-esque in a certain sense. It's all just based on your bearing and that you can play the part somehow. And the main character, the name of the novel, his daughters have married well, but he dotes on them, but he's not well off, and it hasn't all completely been explained what's going on there. But Balzac is strange, and there is a harshness that I still don't really care for that I didn't find in Zola. With Zola, you kind of get the sense of still kind of being fond of humanity in a certain sense, whereas with Balzac, everyone is just, it's just strange. And the writing's good. It's not very lyrical. It's more just kind of telling you stuff. And there does seem to be this weird French, I'm going to call it French, obsession with material things like furniture and clothing and nice things. Not and that's intriguing to me too. So it's going well, but it's going slowly, partly because there's other things, and one other thing has come into play that is, of course, taking me away from just reading this one, but it's okay. So that's that. And then we have my Barnaby, my Dickens that I'm listening to. It's a really interesting novel. It's sort of historical because it takes place in the 18th century. It's very much, so it started off as sort of Gothic Dickens, and there is a kind of murder, there's criminal elements on the roads to London. and a lot of the characters are sort of seem rather 18th century in their duplicity. That this one guy is kind of reminding me a tiny bit almost of Lovelace from Clarissa, but not really. It has a lot of characters, and of course the main one is Barnaby, this innocent, this he has this, he's I don't know what he would be, how we would diagnose him in 2024, but he's an innocent. His mind doesn't work right, and I didn't know about Group the Raven. I didn't know the whole story about Dickens having many grips in the house, and they were household pets. And it's just darling to have this cute little raven walking around saying stuff and being kind of anthropomorphized in a really funny, cute way. And the relationship, of course, to Barnaby is very sweet. And I mean, I'm down for it. It's very sort of quintessential Dickens, and I think only Dickens can sort of get away with it. And I'm listening to it. I'm glad I have a copy, though. For one thing, this has the original illustrations, and the artist, I'll have to look more into him. His name is George someone. They're very fantastical. They always have like Bosch, Hieronymus Bosch moment. Here's a nice one of the inn. And then there's the innkeeper, John Willett, sitting in his cozy inn. It looks so cavernous and very kind of interesting. Yeah, here's a good one of one of the main bad guys, I think, talking here. This guy here, he kind of looks sort of 18th century. So yeah, I am enjoying it. It is it's plotty, and it's a bunch of wacky characters, there's a lot of characters, and it's sort of like almost soap opera. Well, not really, but how they interact. It's not like one person and their story. It's a bunch of people's stories. And it's good. It's Dickens. So, it's a little bit, you have to like Dickens and be ready to go on the wild ride that he's taking you. I haven't quite figured out the plot. There's all kind of mysteries to something to do with Barnaby's father. And his mother has had to sort of remove herself from the situation. That was kind of scary. It's kind of vague stuff because I'm fair ways in, but I still feel like I haven't figured it all out yet. But that's okay. And yeah, so that's that. And then just a little aside here on the Etsy, I couldn't resist, and I didn't realize it was as tiny as it is. So back. See, it's called Christ in Flanders. So what this is when I was doing research on Balzac, I fell down a Balzac rabbit hole, and I looked into the actual order of the 91, apparently, novels or stories. They're not all novels. This is not really a whole novel, that are considered part of the Comédie Humaine. And so this one was actually the second one, and it is an old one. It takes place medieval times in Flanders. It's just a little story. I have a feeling I'm going to read it and the book will fall apart, but it is very darling. It's kind of an interesting little pseudo leather cover, and it was about $10 on Etsy, so it wasn't nothing, but it is kind of cute. I'm sort of intrigued by this little edition. Anyway, I was having a hard time finding copies of these earlier works that are basically just stories. Like the first one I read, Exiles, a while ago, and I actually kind of like this they're way different time period. And the one Exiles was about Dante Alighieri, and it's part of this 19th century stuff. It's like so different from this stuff, just in terms of setting, that it's kind of I don't really think it's part of. I mean, it sort of is, but it's not of the same time period. So now I have a little tiny copy of it. And now the last thing I want to talk about, and I guess maybe I'll talk, I don't know if I'll even put in an image of it. So I got an email, and so this is something that I know some people sort of say, don't do this on YouTube. Don't send me your manuscripts. I'm not going to read your manuscripts to talk about them on my channel. But in this case, he kind of lucked out with me because, I don't have a big channel, and this has actually never happened. I think once on Goodreads, someone asked me to read something for them, and I just didn't do it. It was Goodreads, but I've never been specifically approached to read someone's novel before it's been published and see whether I like it. And we had a little back and forth. I said, well, I often don't like modern stuff, and what if I don't like it? I want to be honest, because I'm not going to lie. Well, why would I? Puff, puff, puff. I'm not into that. And he said, that's fine. And it's a really interesting little novel. He's an interesting fellow. He's a reporter for the New York Post, so not the Times. And he went to Yeshiva University, and then apparently he went to Columbia Journalism. He's a journalist, and I think he's actually published a nonfiction book, true crime something. But this is his first novel, and it seems like it's not exactly literary, but I'm actually kind of enjoying it. It seems to me it's reading like a film, although the plot, so it has a funny title. It's called Goo Hood, so Goy. And it does focus on issues to do with Jewish identity, and specifically these two brothers who one of whom they're told later. I'm being a bit vague with the plot to not be too spoilery, but they're told, or they find out a little bit later on, that they are in fact Jewish. So it goes. And so one of them goes off and has his life, but we've been with the other brother who was on finding out that he was Jewish. He embarked on being extremely studious, and so the book is actually filled with quite a bit of nitty-gritty stuff of what you study when you study the Torah, like stuff that I'm so clueless about that. So I really need 101 Judaism. I'm so whatever. Are women goy too, or are we something else? I don't know. I'm so not Jewish, and so. But because it's quite well written, and I have this propensity for spiritual stuff anyway, that I don't mind reading about the esoteric, and you can sort of tell the plot. Something's going to happen and it's already happened, that he's being pulled out of his. There's even this term that of course I forget. So that if you are like a true scholar of that stuff, there's a term like you're supposed to know, and that kind of intrigues me. This idea that you're supposed to be completely unknowing of the realities of the world, practical. It's sort of like considered beneath them to deal with the practicalities, which on the one hand is very sort of, I don't know, strange, like in this day and age, perhaps even irresponsible, this bubble existence, which leads to very strange minds, I guess. But on the other hand, it's kind of interesting. Anyway, and I think there's a humor there, that there's something to do with the wife I don't want to get into yet, but this one brother, he's married into this very strict but very wealthy or well-off Jewish family, and he's had to go to the airport for reasons that I won't get into. So he's been pulled out of his shell, so to speak, and he can't do anything. His wife has to arrange anything. His wife got him a cell phone. He's never had a cell phone. So it's this very fish out of water, and he looks the part, and he's flown back to be with his brother. And so it is still pretty much at the beginning, but I'm actually kind of enjoying it. Surprisingly, I was a little surprised. The writing is solid. It's not blow me away wonderful, but and there are a few things where I'm like there's one thing that, and it's not just him, I've seen this before, when the narrator, like it's supposed to be in the voice of a younger person or someone, but then the narrator inserts references to stuff. It's actually very referential in the beginning. There's all the references to 70s movies and stuff. Put something in that you kind of can tell that the person who's actually having the thoughts probably wouldn't know about or know the name of, if you know what I'm getting at. I don't know. I don't want to be, later on I'll be more specific. This is the kind of thing perhaps that an editor should catch. I don't know. And it's very nitpicky but I just there's a few things like that have happened, where it's sort of like the narrator is inserting himself unconsciously, because this person, it's just not plausible that a kid would know about some philosopher or some composer, unless they've been set up to be extremely smart, which maybe, but I don't know. Anyway, a little tangent there. But I'm actually kind of enjoying it. I don't think it's coming out until May, but you can get it on the Arc, on the NetGalley if you want to. So it has this funny it has a car on the cover, like road trip stuff. And it is called Goo Goo Hood, so it's funny. And the author is Reuven Fenton, I think. Isn't it Fenton? Reuven Fenton. And if you're interested, it's kind of interesting. I may change my opinion of it if I read further, but so far so good. It's not terrible. It's kind of funny. I could see it being a movie. I think I already said that. I'm repeating myself, which is a sign that I should stop the video. We're at 15 minutes. I am going to stop the video. Hope everyone's doing well. Have you read any of these books? Are you interested in them? Or this other one that I might put a picture up of or not. And I hope everyone's doing well, and I will report back next week. We'll see. And take care, everyone, and thanks for getting me to the 4 figures in terms of subscribers. I'm very happy about that. Bye.